This is a series where I play and analyse the introduction to some of my favourite games. Each episode I'll talk a little bit about the game and run through what I like and what I don't like. Today, we're looking at the introduction to one of the best first-person shooters of the 2000s. Unfortunately, it had shit sales, was released at a bad time, and later had a bad sequel. Today, we're playing Black. Black was released for the Xbox and PlayStation 2 in 2006, towards the end of the life cycle for both of those consoles. It was developed by Criterion Games. They're the folks behind the Burnout Racing series, who have also gone on to be involved in the Star Wars Battlefront reboot and the new Battlefields. Now, Black is a standout first-person shooter, and I've just finished replaying its introduction, so I can tell you why. It feels good to shoot. Black is a superb example of a shooter nailing its most fundamental mechanic. Black makes pulling the trigger satisfying. So, let's break it down. I reckon shooting in a game has three components that tend to make or break a good shooting mechanic: animation, audio, and impact. Animation is the visual stuff, like the appearance of the gun, the recoil, the muzzle flash, and the ejected casings. Audio is how it all sounds. Impact is the feedback you get. What does it look like when you shoot an enemy or the environment? Let's look at this example of shooting the shotgun. Animation-wise, the gun looks good. It's a more detailed model than any of the furniture or other environmental objects around it, and firing looks like it has a good kickback. The audio matches. But impact, that last part, is where Black excels. Even when I hit the wall, I get a kick at dust, sparks, particles, and a permanent mark on the wall. I feel like I've shot something. Cause damage. It's even better when I don't aim like a muppet and I actually hit the door when I'm aiming at it. Impact is often overlooked in first-person shooters. Even in big-budget contemporary shooters like Modern Warfare, they fall short sometimes, especially when it comes to environmental impact. They can have spectacularly detailed models and lifelike textures and truly precise audio, but sometimes that's not enough to make it feel like you're actually shooting. If you want another example of a game that understands impact, go play Fear. Given the limitations of the consoles of the time, it's impressive that Black has the degree of impact and destructibility that it does. I think when it comes to shooting and impact, and especially destructibility and environmental consequences of shooting, Black deserves a lot of credit for being early to that particular party, because Battlefield, Rainbow Six Siege, and a lot of other games now are there, but Black was doing this on the original Xbox. Black also does enemy impact well. There's no blood, but there's a good variety of death animations, and the troops that you shoot do some fun stuff, like tumble over stairs and out of windows when you get them. Now, the bad stuff. Moving in this game is sometimes stiff, it's sticky, it's never really comfortable. The folks at Criterion can make driving feel awesome and shooting feel super satisfying, but moving around ain't good. It's serviceable movement for the time. There's a crouch, but no jump or sprint. There's also no iron sights, just an awkward zoom in from the hips. You feel a bit like a tank. It's frustrating because pulling the trigger feels so good, but when you have to battle to get your shots exactly where you want to go, that's annoying. I had to do some weird strafing that felt a little bit more like Quake than it did like Call of Duty to try and get shots on in this game. So the first level of Black, the introduction, is a good little firefight through some city streets and through some buildings. But it's short as hell. It's over in about 5 to 10 minutes without much dawdling around. The shooting, however, had me hooked, so I pressed on and went a little bit of the way into the second mission. Although there's only 8, it's a short campaign overall, but, you know, I'm going to properly do the introduction of a game. I'm going to have a crack at the first mission and then play the second one till I felt like I hit a good marker. And that second level is a awesome shift of gears, and it feels like a touchstone for a lot of other first-person shooter games. It's the nighttime stealth mission in the woods of some Eastern European nation. A classic. It's good though, because there's some rudimentary stealth. The orchestral music and the ambient sound of wind and distant helicopters helps sell the mood as far as sound design goes. It shows that the Criterion team had some talent in its in-game presentation and its level design. It knows how to mix up the pace and keep things interesting. Presentation overall is solid in Black. The live-action cutscenes, bookending missions are well made and feel like they provide just the right amount of exposition and motivation for you to see the story through. Black feels, again, like another sort of touchstone of the modern cinematic action FPS that would come close to perfection 1 year later when Modern Warfare was released in 2007.
What went wrong?
Black got lost, unfortunately. It came out 1 year before Halo 3 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare dropped. It launched on the Xbox and wasn't playable on the 360 until it was ported in 2008. The PS3 came out the same year that Black was launched on the PS2. It didn't have any multiplayer, so it lost a little bit of longevity there. Its spiritual sequel, Body Count, which was made by Codemasters, didn't live up to expectations.
If you can get all the explosive action of global conflict somewhere else without the issues, well, that just seems like a better deal.
Despite its awkward timing and its lack of legacy, Black is worth remembering, and I think it's worth playing. It's a solid game that nails its shooting and presentation and is let down by some icky movement and controls. Few games make shooting feel this good, especially in 2006 at the end of a console generation. I'm surprised by how good it feels to shoot in Black, knowing the game is as old as it is. I'll be covering some more 2000s era FPS games in the future, and I'm keen to keep revisiting these old favourites of mine. Take care.
The death toll following Monday's attack has now reached 48, while the number of injured remains at 92. CIA Director Rhodus tonight today that covert military activities known as Black Operations are currently in effect.
You'll never see us. We're the shadows behind the headlines. Faceless.
3 months later, he turned up in Moscow. Always one step ahead.
This is our world. A deniable world.
I repeat, we are not operational in that area.
A world that no one can admit exists.
You expect me to believe we had a terror cell working for us?
Your safety is our concern.